So, once upon a time, I did not used to go to regular doctor's visits. I would go years without going to a primary care and more years without going to an OBGYN. I never went on a regular basis. I wasn't having sex, which doesn't matter. And then I felt fine, so I just didn't go. And yeah, so I just didn't go. But then my mom got to the point where she used to be like, "Are you going to your appointments? Are you going to the doctor?" Even though I don't really remember going to the doctor that much when I was a kid either. I probably did, maybe I just didn't know. But unless something was really wrong. But I mean, we were built for it tough back then. Excuse my ashy hands. I took a shower, didn't put any lotion on, and flew over here to sit in the parking lot of my new OBGYN's office. As I was going to say before I cut myself off, when I got older and just having my mom ask questions and then some certain things that took place, I did start going to the doctor often. Same thing with the dentist. Until I found a dentist that the reception staff made me feel real comfortable, the hygienists made me feel very comfortable, and then the dentist himself made me feel very comfortable. So I started going, and now I go to the dentist every 6 months. And it's great, and I will continue going. They've even made a bigger office and told me I could choose which doctor, and I'm sticking with that doctor and his hygienist. Same thing for primary care. I found one. She was good. She made a little mistake, and I was like, nah, I can't take it. But I didn't give up on her completely until her nurse was trying to act crazy with me one day. Different story. Actually, no, it's not a different story. I arrived 2 minutes late, and actually probably those 2 minutes was me waiting for them to acknowledge me so that I could check in. And she had a major, nasty, clearly obvious, not up for mistaken interpretation attitude with me. And I was like, I will not be treated that way. And then to top that off, the doctor made a little mistake. I was trying to conceive then. My blood pressure had gone up a little bit. It was probably just freaking out trying to get to the appointment on time or what have you. She put me on blood pressure pill knowing that I was trying to conceive, and it was a calcium blocker, which was not the best type of blood pressure medication for me to be on at that time. That one had not actually been proven necessarily safe for that. And of course, we caught it in time because my blood pressure dropped really low and they had to take me off of it anyway. But and now I guess it was forgivable, but because you do kind of sadly have to do a little bit of your own research, but that could have turned out really bad. So I probably shouldn't have overlooked it. But what pushed me over the edge of already thinking about leaving was that rude nurse. I found another primary care. She ended up moving away. And then I found a pretty good primary care again. She just kind of seemed like she was out of it one day, but whatever. She's still good, and it was hard to get in with her. And of course, when you're a lady, you can see your OBGYN, who can also do your well women checks. They check for many of the same systems that your primary care checks for. So the great thing is I have a really good OBGYN. She's a nurse practitioner, but having worked in the medical profession, sometimes the nurses know just about what the doctor knows, and sometimes a little bit better. In some cases are equally the same. They just didn't go through all the extra stuff. They're not going to be able to operate on you and things of that nature. So if you need something like that, they'll move you on to somebody that can help. But mine, I believe, would still track and take care of things. I also like my maternal fetal medicine doctor, which I need to have because I'm a lady of a certain age, so they just make you take that extra precaution. But I've only talked to him once, but he was still really great. And my OBGYN nurse practitioner knows him. So the reason why I'm sitting here in another OBGYN office's parking lot and going to switch is because I had an abnormal pap smear. I have never had one before. I think I know what happened, a little injury that took place when I was inserting a pill that sort of got sucked into the wrong spot. That's another story for a different day. I'm sorry if that's TMI. I don't need to know. You could just not watch any more videos because I might let something slip like that again. Sorry, didn't mean to offend. So at any rate, I was checking for my results because something did seem a little different, but I thought it was just a simple little thing that sometimes takes place, especially because I was taking so many vaginal medications. So all of my labs came back, but not this pap smear. And I was wondering, like, why? But I never really paid attention to the amount of time it took because I never had an abnormal one before. So I get a message, a little alert that I need to check my profile because the result came in, and I was like, that must be it. We're gonna find out everything is either okay or it's something really simple. Lo and behold, I open it. It doesn't look pretty simple. You don't want to see the word abnormal. And so I am like, wow, why am I seeing these results first? Well, there's a law now that your results can be released to you as soon as they come in. You no longer have to wait for your doctor to get the results and review them. They will simply load them into whatever portal your doctor's office uses. And it does have a disclaimer that you may see the results first and you will not know what the hell you're looking at. And it's not a good idea to Google, because Google will have you thinking you're crazy, or you will go crazy looking at the results of Google. But I do know a little something from my background in working with doctors and working in operating rooms. So I see that this is not good. I see that this is something that needs to be taken care of. I give her several hours. In fact, I wait until the next day because it's about midday when I see the results. I'm sure they got there a little sooner than that, but of course, I'm expecting that she's seeing patients. So the next day, I don't hear anything. It's midday. It's been 24 hours. I contact the clinic and I'm like, I noticed that my results are in the system from a test that I had on the 20th. It is now the 25th or 26th. And I just want to make sure that these are seen because I hadn't heard anything back and the result is abnormal. So the nurse calls me back. She's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yes, I will make sure to forward this message to the nurse practitioner so that I can make sure that she's aware that these records are in here and she can review them for you. So I wait another day, noon the next day. I haven't heard anything. So now I'm angry and I'm frustrated. So I don't know if I either portal messaged or called or something, and I was like, look, I have not heard anything. This is an abnormal result. I need to know what's going on. So I think another day passed before they got back to me, only to find out that my nurse practitioner is on vacation and there's another nurse practitioner or midwife that is taking her place. However, I missed her call because for some reason my phone died. I didn't plug it in. I missed the call. I usually always have my phone right next to me. So I call back and I talk to the receptionist. The receptionist is talking about a mile a minute with her accent from Britain or England or wherever she's from, and she's very nervous and it's very shaky, sort of like Mrs. Doubtfire. Not trying to make fun of her accent, but it was like Mrs. Doubtfire. Like, she was flustered and she was stumbling over her words, and she was like, what is the last name of the person that called you? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't remember. So she looks up the first name and tells me, oh, well, there's nobody else, and there's only one person in our system with this first name, but we have 2 offices and it could have been somebody else. You just told me there's one person in both offices with that name. It's not somebody else. And at this point, I don't care if it's somebody that's in the clinical side that's qualified to talk to me about these results. I will talk to whoever it is. So this turns into a 6-minute or longer conversation with her going back and forth. She's talking a mile a minute, so much to the point that I can't even break in to ask her, does she want me to read the message and call back? She's asking me, what number did they call me from? Like, all these different questions. And I'm like, well, should I? And I'm talking louder to get her to be quiet and let me ask my question. That doesn't work. Finally, she needs more oxygen. And when she's trying to take this other breath, I'm able to break in and ask her, would it be better if I listen to the message and just call back? Because I'm like, I don't care who I talk to or whatever. So I finally get off the phone with her. I look at the message. I get the person's last name. I call back, but in the process of calling back, someone calls me. And it's the person that called. And she tells me my results are abnormal and I need to have a colposcopy. And she, I'm worried. I'm under, and I'm telling her, like, I'm under the care of a fertility clinic. They want me to have some testing done as well. So I need to know what to tell them. So she's like, you know what? We'll get you in next week for this, so you don't have to worry about it and all of these other things. So she says they'll call you back to schedule the appointment. I won't be doing it. I can't do it because I'm seeing so many patients or whatever. I don't know if she was saying she doesn't do the colposcopies or if she doesn't do the calls. So at any rate, I wait and wait and wait. They're about to close at 2:37. They close at 3. I get a call from a receptionist, and she's telling me that the soonest I can be seen is the end of, like, literally 4 weeks away from the day that she calls. I'm sorry, abnormal results, cervical abnormal results. I don't think I need to be waiting an entire month for this to become a whole situation. Even if it's nothing because it's low grade, whatever, I still feel like this is something with an abnormal thing that needs to be seen. And I feel like all doctors should have a provision in their schedule that allows people with certain types of testing results to get in to be seen. This lady keeps talking to me about routine appointments and how booked the schedule is and everything. And I try to stay calm. I'm taking deep breaths. I'm closing my eyes. I'm like, can you check and see if something's sooner? I talked to this person and she told me that they would get me in sooner because of all of these different things. And she just keeps talking about routine appointments and pregnant women getting checked and blah, blah, blah. All these things that have nothing to do with what I am asking. Nothing to do with, can you put me on a wait list in case somebody cancels? Nothing to do with, can you check and see what other doctor in the practice does this test so I can get in and get this taken care of. Nothing reassuring. I'm gonna get a nurse to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she did finally say that she could get a nurse to talk to me Monday because they were closing. Who told y'all to wait until 23 minutes before you closed to call me back when you had an entire day? Okay, so at any rate, she tells me all of this about that, and I finally tell her, this is not routine, and I'm pretty sure that if you had a test result that was abnormal, you would want somebody to go ahead and check to see what could be done, and you would want to be seen sooner. So I get what you're saying, but I'm not concerned about routine appointments. I'm concerned about getting in so that I can be seen. So she's like, okay, sure. So now she's got an attitude. And I said it really calm because I wanted to make sure I didn't have attitude, because she's got something that I need, the appointment book. So I say, but yeah, you can go ahead. Could you please go ahead and keep me down for this end of the month appointment, July 29th. This is June 28th, July 29th. Can you go ahead and put me in for that? But then can you, yes, please go ahead and check with this person. I'm not sure if she's going to do either of those things. So we get off the phone. I go ahead and send a message to that person and let that person know that they're telling me now that I've got to wait this whole time. So thankfully, even though they were closed, the person that told me this information did get back to me, and she then confirmed that she was sorry. They have 2 doctors out on maternity leave and a couple people out on vacation. So no, indeed, they cannot see me until a month later with these results, but that it's okay that I wait. No, ma'am. It's actually not. So then the weekend goes by. Yesterday, I actually was contacted by 2 separate people. And then another person had called while I was on the phone with the lady that was telling me I couldn't be seen till the end of the month. Somebody else was calling from their same office to schedule me. But she also said the same thing. So Monday, I get messages again in the portal from 2 separate people asking me. One person says, would you like to be seen sooner? And I was like, she said, it's okay if you wait, but would you like to be seen sooner? I'm like, yes, and I'll take whatever you have. Still have never heard back from her after I posted that. And then the other nurse was like, I see that you're already scheduled. So here we are. Haven't heard anything. And then, and my mammogram came back. That was normal. Got that result right away. So why did I have to beg for my abnormal result? So the whole point of this video is that you can have a great doctor, but the support staff is going to make a difference whether or not you receive the great care that doctor can provide. Because if they don't understand where they work and what kind of testings and things are done, what kinds of things are priority, they don't understand their schedules, support staff that's filling in for you while you're on vacation isn't fully aware of everything that's going on in the practice, then you're not going to get that good care from that good doctor. And yes, people are people and they make mistakes, but when someone is asking a lot of questions and doing a lot of follow-up, don't poo-poo them and get upset. Some people are diligent, and you have to respect the diligence of some people, because when you're not diligent, then people want to say, well, you should have been more diligent. So don't be offended by that. Follow up and follow through with that. So I was determined at that point, I'm going to find out if somebody can see me sooner, if other people take this more seriously. I'm still further out than I want to be. I found a doctor that actually deals, like, one of her things that she's interested in is fertility. But she's also a general OBGYN, and she does surgical procedures and things of that nature. So I found her. She had an opening for July 18th. I signed up for that opening. Her front office staff, the scheduler, called me this morning. It's Tuesday, because I left it, I made the message online far after hours on Friday. So you have to give them time to look into things. 24 hours is reasonable. But she called me on Monday. Oh no, I'm sorry. She called me on Tuesday, which was 24 hours, which is great, especially since I was on Friday late. And she said, I see that you're scheduled. She was like, but we need to actually see your result so we can review what that was, and anything you can provide from your fertility clinic as well. We'll take a look at that, because based on those things, we might want to see you sooner. And we have to see those things before we can get you scheduled. Totally understandable. She was like, I'll give you my fax number. You can fax it to me. I asked her, can I email it to you? Because I have it in the portal. She was like, well, we don't have a secure email, but if you can bring it if you would like. So I set my printer up, print the stuff out. I come in, I go to the front office. I begin to describe why I'm there. And she was like, oh, that was me. She takes the stuff. She was like, let me take this back to my clinical supervisor. Takes it back. 5 minutes later, comes back. Let's go ahead and get you scheduled. Let me take your license and your insurance card. And it's only a couple days sooner. Like, she's getting me in on the 16th, but that's better than the 18th. She said, you'll come in. The doctor will go over the results with you. You'll meet the doctor, and then we'll get you scheduled for the colposcopy. Simple. Front office staff. And technically, really all they are supposed to be responsible for doing is answering phones, putting in demographic information, making sure you're checked in. But she knows this is something that my doctor wants to be aware of or needs to be aware of. It's an abnormal result. I need you to do these things. We might have to see you sooner. Front office staff knows what's going on in the practice. You have got to make sure your front office knows. And I'm pretty sure she knows that you can't diagnose and things like that. But they need to know basic things that need to be brought to the doctor's attention or the clinical supervisor's attention in this case, to save lives and to help with mental status, because it's rough. All right. But I said all that to say this. That's why I made this short. A good doctor is only as good as the support staff.